I'm 103 years old, and I'm about to tell you something no one else will. Not your parents, not your therapist, not your self-help books. And the reason they won't say it is because it's too painful, too blunt, too real. I've lived for more than a century. I've buried 3 wives, 2 children, nearly all my friends, and every single person I knew before I turned 40. I've watched the world remake itself 4 different times, and through all those years, one truth has followed me, haunting me every single day. We live like we have unlimited time, when in reality, we barely have any at all. But let me tell you when I first learned this lesson. Not at 90, not at 80, I was just 33 years old, and it took me another 70 years to fully understand what that moment was trying to teach me. It was October 14th, 1955, a Friday. I remember clearly because I had plans that weekend to go dancing with my wife Margaret. We'd been married 8 years. We had 2 young boys, Daniel and Thomas. I worked at the steel mill back then. I was a steady man, the kind who kissed his wife on the forehead before heading out the door and said, "See you tonight, Maggie." But that Friday, I didn't come home on time. There was an explosion at the mill. I survived. My best friend didn't. His name was Walter. We'd worked side by side for 12 years. They told his wife it was quick. They said he didn't suffer. That's what they always say. What they never tell you is this. When someone dies suddenly, they take every unsaid word with them. Every "I appreciate you" you never spoke. Every apology you postponed. Every moment you were too busy, too proud, or too distracted to simply sit and be there. That night, sitting alone in my garage long after my boys were asleep, I made a promise to myself. I swore I would never waste another day. I promised I would live with intention, love without holding back, and stop postponing joy. And almost immediately, I broke that promise. I thought I was doing better. I hugged my sons more. I told my wife I loved her more often. But life crept back in, like it always does. Overtime shifts, bills, repairs, responsibilities. I convinced myself I had changed. But I hadn't. Not really. Because what I didn't understand at 33, what took me 70 more years to truly grasp, is this. It's not enough to survive something tragic and assume you've become a different man. The lesson isn't that life is short. Everyone says that. The real lesson is that you will forget. You'll slip back into autopilot. You'll start believing you've got time again, and that forgetting, that quiet return to distraction and complacency, is the real tragedy. I lost Margaret in 1972. Cancer. She was 49. I was 50. My biggest regret from those 27 years with her? It's not the arguments, not the financial struggles, not the stress. It's the ordinary Wednesday nights I spent watching television instead of talking to her. The times she asked me to take a walk and I said, maybe later. The evenings I treated like they were guaranteed. Because here's what nobody tells you about reaching my age. You don't just lose the people you love once. You lose them again and again in your memory. Every time you think of them, you remember another moment you rushed through, another conversation you half listened to, another hug you cut short because you thought you had somewhere more important to be. My son Daniel died in 1987. He was 45. Heart attack. I was 65. I sat beside him in the hospital. He looked at me and said, "Dad, I'm sorry I didn't visit more." I wanted to grab him and say, "Why are we apologizing now? Why didn't we make the time when we could?" But I didn't. I just held his hand and told him it was okay. I told him we had time. We didn't. I remarried years later. Helen, a good woman. We had 21 years together before she passed at 98. And even after everything I'd already experienced, do you know what I still did? Sometimes I looked at my phone while she was talking. Sometimes I grew impatient when she repeated stories. Sometimes I thought, I'll give her my full attention tomorrow. There wasn't always a tomorrow. You're young, and maybe you're thinking, this is depressing. Everyone dies. But that's not the point. The point isn't that everyone dies. The point is that you're living like you're the exception, like somehow you'll have more time later, Like you'll get around to being the man you want to be when things slow down. I'm 103 years old, and I can tell you with certainty, later never comes. You think you'll travel when you retire. By then, your back might not allow it. You think you'll reconnect with your brother after this busy stretch at work. That stretch might last 20 years. You think you'll write the book, start the business, fix the relationship, take the trip when you have more time, more money, more clarity. But here's the cruel truth. You already have time. You just don't treat it like it's valuable. You trade it for distractions. You give it to people who drain you. You waste it worrying about things that won't matter 5 years from now. And if you live long enough, like I have, you'll look back and realize you had all the time you needed. You just didn't use it wisely. I'm not telling you to abandon your responsibilities. I'm not telling you to quit your job. I'm telling you something harder. Pay attention, today, right now, to how you're spending your one short, irreplaceable life. Is your father still alive? Call him today, not next week. Today, because I am that father now. My son Thomas is 76. He visits every Sunday, every single Sunday. And you know what? It still doesn't feel like enough. Not because he's not a good son, he's a wonderful man, but because when you truly love someone, no amount of time ever feels sufficient. Every Sunday, when he walks to his car, I watch him and think, will I see him again? At my age, every goodbye could be the last. That's not dramatic. That's mathematics. And here's what you need to understand. It's not different for you just because you're younger. Every goodbye could be your last too. You just don't believe it yet? I have a great-grandson named Ethan. He's 16. Last month he visited and spent most of the time staring at his phone. I didn't say anything. What's the point? He thinks he has forever. He thinks his messages are urgent. He assumes this moment, sitting with his 103-year-old great-grandfather, will always be available. It won't. And someday when he's older, he'll remember that visit. He'll remember that he was looking at a screen instead of looking at me. And that memory will sting in ways he can't imagine yet. That's the pain I want to save you from. Not the regret of huge mistakes. You can eventually make peace with those. I'm talking about the regret of quiet absence, of being physically present but mentally somewhere else, of treating the people you love like they're permanent. They're not. I won't be here much longer. I can feel it. Not in a frightening way, just in a knowing way. My body is tired. It's been working for over a century, and I'm at peace with that. What I'm not at peace with is the thought that you might waste your life the way I wasted so much of mine. Here's the truth I learned 70 years too late. The moments that matter most aren't the big milestones, not the promotions, not the awards, not even the wedding day. Those are meaningful, yes, but they're not what you'll replay at the end. You'll think about a random Tuesday afternoon when your dad tried to teach you something and you chose patience instead of irritation. You'll remember a Saturday morning making breakfast with your kids when nobody was rushing. You'll remember a quiet walk with your wife when you truly listened instead of planning your reply. Those ordinary, unremarkable, completely simple moments when you were fully there, those are the ones that matter. And they're available to you right now. Today. This very moment. But you have to choose them. You have to fight for them. Because everything around you is designed to pull you away. Your phone, your ambitions, your fears, your endless responsibilities. If I could speak to 33-year-old Henry standing in that garage in 1955, here's what I would tell him. You're going to break the promise you just made. You'll break it again and again, because you're human, and humans forget. So, here's your real job. Remember and return. Remember and return. Every time you drift into distraction, into busyness, into taking people for granted, notice it. And come back. Come back to presence. Come back to attention. Come back to love. Not perfectly, but consistently. I've lived 37,595 days. And I can count on two hands the days I was fully, completely present. That's my real regret. Not that I didn't earn more or accomplish more, but that I sleepwalked through so much of my own life. Don't do what I did. Don't wait 70 years to understand this. Don't wait until the people you love are gone before realizing you should have loved them better while they were here. Stop reading this and call someone you love. Stop reading this and sit beside someone in silence. Stop reading this and truly look at the people in your life while they're still here to be seen. Because I promise you, with everything I have left, later never comes.